Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I'm so thankful. I like the story of the 10 lonely lepers because we don't recognize exactly what was going on in the city that day. Because typically what happens is when at this day and time, when someone has been diagnosed, or when someone has been diagnosed with leprosy, they were actually required to remove themselves away from the people. So they were from the ones that were well, because this leprosy was considered contagious. And so now we've got 10 lepers that are basically hanging out with each other because they were not accepted inside the city walls because of their disease and because of their sin. And now all of a sudden they come by a man named Jesus that did not reject them because of their disease, that did not overlook them or not walk by or turn their head or put their nose in the air. But he said, you know what, I've got something for you. And he reached over and he cleansed every one of them. He cleansed every one of them, all 10 of them. And he said, go show yourself to the priest, because when they would take a look at him and say, yes, you've been cleansed, now you can go ahead and mingle in the city. But listen, those 10 lonely lepers, like this song said, if those 10 lonely lepers was like the church of today, the one that came back was kind of like the one that said, you know what, repentance is not enough, but there's got to be more. A little repeat after me prayer is not enough, but there's got to be more. I know that there's more out there. I know that there's more. And he came back to the source of that cleansing. He came back to the source of that power. And he went out and he worshiped the Lord. But listen to me. When the repentance isn't enough, when you desire to have a relationship, when you desire to have more for Christ, when you desire to get to know Him better, all of a sudden He'll reach down into your life and He will make you whole. See, I've preached this message plenty of times, and I guess that's the dangers of being a pastor. You repeat yourself a lot, it seems like. But because they keep playing the same music over and over and over again. No, never mind. But you see, some of us don't have love in our heart because the disease of our life, or the pain and the sin of our life, has now removed pieces of love from our life. So it's hard for some women to really show their love towards a man, and it's really hard for some men to show their love towards a woman because they've been hurt and they've been things ripped away from their lives. And that's exactly the way this disease of leprosy was. It would rot away pieces of the flesh or soft tissues. Cartilages would fall off and rot away, and skin would rot away, and these people were deformed. And if we look around in society today, you're going to notice that there's a lot of people that are walking around, even though they look like they're okay, but they're deformed because this world and this life and this sin has rotted away their love and their compassion, and it's destroyed their joy and took away. Listen to what I'm saying today. But when he came to Jesus, he said, you are made whole. You see, there's something different about being cleansed and being made whole. Because the other guy only received the cleansing, but the one that came back was made whole. That means in the place that ear rotted off, it grew back. The place where the nose had rotted off, it came right back to his face. God had restored the years that the disease had destroyed. I'm here to tell you tonight that if you can just turn your life over to God all the way, say, God, I don't want nothing else but you. He will lead and guide you into all truth. He will take you, He will repair and restore the years that the life has tried to destroy. He will put love and joy and peace back in your life. There's just one. Man, I hope we have more than just one in here today. I hope we have more than just one in here today. We appreciate everyone that came out to be with us this afternoon. It's afternoon now. It's good to see John and Mercedes, and real happy to see that. See them walk to the back door. I seen a car go by. that. And I was real happy to see them back there come to the back door. And it's nice to see Jessica. We haven't seen her in a long time. And she's got a big old smile on her face. And you got to give it to a man that can put that big of a smile on someone's face.
Amen.
And that's my new fiance, Evan. And we're glad you guys came out to be in service with us this morning, this afternoon. And man, I am so bad with names, and it's killing me. Is it Tate?
Tad.
Tad. I'm sorry, man. I knew it was Ta something. No, I'm joking. Anyways, it's Tad. He came out to be in service with us. He came with John, and we were glad to have you here today. I apologize about I even asked you twice. I know. And here I am. I forget. And anyways, we are really happy to have you here with us in service this afternoon. For those of you that don't know me, I am very passionate and I am very into it, I guess. And there will be times in this service that you're going to see me kind of maybe getting loud and you're going to see some stuff just come from me like spit and you're going to see me probably dance a little bit. You're going to see me shout a little bit. You're going to see me cry maybe even a little bit. You're going to see a lot of different things today. But I promise you this, it's nothing that other than the work of God in my life. Because listen, when I find something that I love, I'm very passionate over that thing. You see, you know, we criticize church members because they get loud, and we criticize church people because they come to church and sometimes they stomp their feet and clap their hands and they shout a little bit, but then they go out to the football game and they're out there screaming, "Ah!" They scored a touchdown and they go to the concerts, and man, all of a sudden one of their boy bands come on, "Oh, Frankie!" And they pass out and they have all kinds of crazy, they act a fool. And here I am, and these people has never touched their lives and never been, they may have sang a song that they thought was maybe singing right to them, and they may have, they brought an entertainment on Sunday, especially after a hangover when my football team wins. But let me tell you something, none of that has ever touched my life like God has touched my life. When He reached out, He pulled me up out of the wall of sin. So if I get a little passionate today, I know why. Because something touched my life. And I am no longer the same. I am brand new. He has restored the years that the disease is trying to destroy.
Thank you, Jesus.
This afternoon,
Thank you, Jesus.
I want to preach to you the message, our greatest foe. And I don't know how this message is going to come. When I look at it on paper, it doesn't look that good. But we'll just see how it goes. It was like that last week too, and everything turned out all right. But I want to talk to you about me for a moment.
Uh-oh.
I want you to know the type of person that I really am. You know, April, I'm a morning person. When you, I'm a morning person. I am really a morning person. Every once in a while, I think I'm going to wake up, or every once in a while, I wake up grumpy, but for the most of the time, I just let her sleep. My wife is not a morning person. We are the complete opposites. If you know April, you'll believe. And you know that you'll know she is my opposite. Polar opposite. If I am the North Pole, she is the South. She's just the opposite end, but you know what, it works.
Yes,
And I am very outgoing. She is very much an introvert in a lot of ways, and I am expressive, and she's amiable, and I can sometimes not be friendly, and she's very friendly. I can sometimes be aggressive, and she's not so aggressive, and she is my complete opposite. So that's a little bit about me and my wife, but I'm not here to talk about her today and this Sunday. But for the most part, I've always been someone that likes to have a good time. I enjoy laughing. I enjoy talking. I enjoy spending time with my friends. I've been like that my whole life. When I was younger, that's all that I did. However, now that I've aged a bit, I find that most of my enjoyment is spending time with my children. I don't care how funny some of my friends were. I mean, I'm telling you, man, Roger Norton, if he ever sees this video, was one of the funniest guys that I ever went to school with. And we called him Bo, and Trey Thompson, they would make, Dave Steve would make me laugh. And we, of course, we had a good time hanging around each other, but man, none of my friends and none of the people that I've been around has made me laugh like my children make me laugh. And I just enjoy being around my children, and none of my friends has ever given me the sense of accomplishment that my children have.
Thank you, Jesus.
I mean, they give me funny stories. Now, I'm a storyteller anyways, but man, they just keep giving me new material. And I remember one night, Hunter is very, right, Hunter? Sometimes you're afraid of some things, huh? And he's like, I want this robot. He wanted this robot really bad. And as those of you that don't know, Hunter's going to get baptized later on today. So we're going to have our first baptismal in our new baptistry. So we're excited about that. But Hunter's going to be the first one. But Hunter wanted this robot. And he's like, man, Dad, I want this robot for my birthday. Can you please give me this robot? Yeah, well, I want a robot. Hunter doesn't tell us what he typically wants a whole lot. So when he tells us that he wants something, we usually get it because we don't know what to get the kid. And so he wanted this robot. And we got this robot, set it down in front of him, and his eyes glowed red. And he goes, and I'm like, well, are you going to play with it? No. I'm like, why? His eyes are red. And he was a lot younger, of course, at the time. And I'm like, well, Hunter, he's a robot that you wanted. He goes, give me a dad. He's got a hand that goes like this. And those are the stories that I would love to share with my Uncle Ed and my Uncle Danny if I just could. And the fact that they had a small Spider-Man that was about stuffed, it was about this big, and they were in their bunk beds, and all of a sudden I heard, ooh, ooh! And I went in there and I looked and I'm like, what's the matter with you, Hunter? What's the matter? And he's like, there's a hand! And here Spider-Man fell between the bunks, and his hand was hanging down in the bed, and little red face. You want me to tell something on Daniel? You want me to tell something on Daniel? Anyways, they've given me a lot of joy. You know, my daughter was having me take pictures the other day, selfies. She loves to take selfies, so now she's taking selfies with me. And we were here making faces, and we looked, and all of a sudden we started flipping through the pictures, and there she was. It looked like she was licking the back of my head. And I asked her, I said, what are you doing licking my bald spot? And of course, we both had a belly laugh out of that, but she was not really licking my bald spot. But my kids, I just enjoy being around them, and they've replaced some things in my life. And I've always been one that would go to battle. If I had a friend that was going to fight, and I'd be right there with them. And I remember we were here in Akron. My friends were here at school, and it started out just a friendly snowball fight with the house next door. And they were in college, and I wasn't in college. I was just there to drink. And it started out as a friendly snowball fight with the house next door, and next thing, one thing happened and led to another, and we're my friends. Dave Steve, there you are again, buddy. Anyways, he's out there fighting with some of the guys, and there's a brawl. This house and that house is fighting with each other, and I was busting my rear end over there to help them. Because that's what friends do, and I've never been afraid to do it. But today I fight a different battle. which kind of leads me to what I want to talk to you about this afternoon. I realize that one of my biggest battles in my life has always been my competitiveness. And while I was younger, you know, it's my brother's fault. I competed with him. You know, you don't want to let your little brother to beat you at you don't want to beat him at anything. He's your little brother. So we were always real competitive with each other, and if he would begin to beat me, then in any of the games that we were playing, I would begin to beat him. Literally. I would foul harder. I would come at him a little bit tougher because I didn't like being beat. And I would resort to one of my other traits, and I would start the battle. I used that competitiveness all the way through school. I didn't like the thought of anyone being better than me on the football field, so I would battle. I grew older and I found myself competing with my coworkers, and I wanted to be the best at my position at work than the rest of them. This wasn't necessarily a bad thing because, especially since you really need to be competitive when you're selling. I was a sales person, and it's a competitive market, and you've got to be willing to compete with plenty of other competitors out there. And so it wasn't a bad thing. So I believe it was because of this trait that I was always successful. And